Fortnite fam, welcome back to the FNCS Summit. Man, we just had a crazy game. Tokata, they did it! Scary and Syaz got a victory royale on land!
You do not understand the excitement I had. Look, my knee still hurts. I was watching, shout out Zuha, coming from Spain, doing a viewing party in Spanish. Syaz Scary, the only team, both players representing Spain, win the match. I mean, we're back in EU Major 1, where they were primed up, they were teed up from height, finishing off the game. I don't even know what else happened in that match, because the only thing on my mind, I'm sounding a bit biased, but was Syaz and Scary winning, okay?
Can you tell he's excited?
No, I couldn't tell.
Oh, yeah, not really. Really nice game from these guys, though, of course. Another great height hold from one of our teams. This is a team that a lot of people had their eyes on coming into this. Like, how are they actually going to perform? Because if you look back at Major 1 from EU, they were third after day 1. They were looking really, really good. A lot of people were like, hang on a sec. Could this be a top 3, a top 2 from these guys in the Major 1? Unfortunately for them, their day 2 wasn't quite as good. They didn't keep up that momentum, that fighting prowess that we seem to see from them in every single fight. But what they did, of course, was qualify here and show what they can do in this game.
Exactly, and what I saw from this team was confidence. Back in Major 1, you said they were third place. It's not just because they were getting good placements. They were getting a ridiculous amount of eliminations alongside that. And today, in that last match, we just saw a little bit of that spark that they have, and I'm hoping they can continue forwards. But let's take a look at this beautiful board.
10th place, baby! Look it up in there, 10th place, up 21 placements. Again, this is why we continue to reinforce. It takes one good game, Tokata, one good game. Suddenly you're rising up the standings and finding yourself well into that top 25.
Yeah, it is top 25 today to make it to Sunday. And then not only that, on Sunday, top 15 will be qualifying to the Global Championships as well. So there's a lot on the line from these players, but we still got to get through today. Just 4 matches have been played. And we're getting closer and closer to finish off this upper bracket.
So listen, because you are Brazil biased, I'm currently EU biased. Hey, you see Vico Malabuca take over first place? I've changed sides. I've changed sides here. They've suddenly decided it's our time to strike Mini Minor. I mean, I'm not surprised, right? This is Vico and Malabuca we're talking about.
Yeah, this is a team that have been very, very consistent throughout today. They're doing what we know this team can do. And this season, going into the major finals, it was a bit up and down. We weren't really sure what to expect from these guys. Then, of course, it was the 3rd place in Major 1 finals, and we saw what we expected from 2 powerhouse names in Vico and Malabuca. And this game, Tokata, was absolutely no different. These are little lurk plays at this stage of the game. It's so difficult to pull that off. And I think it speaks volumes of their confidence at this stage of competition because, yeah, we used to speak about Vico as this sort of up-and-coming player. He is no longer like that. He's a veteran on this stage and on this land. So he's someone that's going to be brimming with confidence, and you can see it in their gameplay.
And what I want to bring up as well is not only did they perform incredibly well, but that was a Battle Boulevard zone. They dropped north of the map at Frigid Fortress. They went all the way down south. We talked about net surge. We talked about zones, rotates, and how it was looking to kick things off today. But after this 4th match, not only did they get a zone on the opposite side of the map, they still managed to rack up a very good amount of points.
Was Vico singing there?
I think he was.
Was he singing?
I think he was. You know what's interesting? Remember, I don't know if you guys saw, at one point Levin was saying, hey, I'm like a vibe checker. I feel like, right, he's like, I don't know why, but I feel like Vico Malabuca vibes are really, really high. Yeah.
You nearly left him hanging there. That was
He picked it up, though.
Good.
But seeing so much joy from obviously so much representation, I would just really quickly wanted to let you guys in on a little behind-the-scenes action. When we saw Scary and Syaz on the high ground, at one point I was like, yo, Tokata, are you seeing this? They're on the high ground. He said, no way! And then ran out of the room. And I was like, wait, where's he going? I come out here. He is jumping for joy. They've won. They're having a great time, waving the flag. I love it. Now, why don't we go ahead, though, focus back into the competition. Let's take a look at the standings, because remember, we only have 2 games left to go. We need to try and end in the top 25 to move straight through to Sunday's finals, or we drop into the lower bracket tomorrow. Hoyo, Peterbot. You know, we've kind of, currently in 12th place, we've kind of had a little bit of a mixed bag here. If I could be so bold, and I want to get your guys' thought on this. Right now, it does feel like Peterbot's kind of maybe a little bit bored with the competition. Kind of just like, well, you know, I just have to hit top 25. I'm not super worried about it. But it feels like he's conserving a lot of that, like, Peterbot factor for finals.
Oh, that's exactly right. And what I noticed about when I was watching these guys was they had 0 eliminations going to that sort of 6th zone. They've really turned down a lot of that mid-game aggression that we typically associate with a duo of this quality. They're like, right, okay, we're going to have to turn things up now and just make sure we can actually make these end games. They actually found themselves in a really nice position in that 6th zone as well. It actually pulled towards them, so they could save a lot of those materials on those later rotates and a lot of those heals that we've been seeing them using. So that game played out really favorably for them. They are not home and dry yet, though, Takata. They've still got a lot to do.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the last duo competition of this caliber was the 2024 Global Championships. And guess who won? It was Peterbot and Poyo. Not only that, they got second, first in the majors. Now, we see them here in top 12. You look at the number, it's not a bad placement.
Yep.
Well inside qualifying range, looks good. But then you look at the names, Peterbot and Poyo, you're like, hold on. They need to be in that #1 spot. They need to be at the top. However, look, this is the upper bracket. You know, we can just feel things out in the match. I think where this duo will truly shine is if they make it on Sunday when they're truly battling for that trophy, for that #1 grand prize, and for that ticket to the Global Championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely kind of been in a situation, right, where we kind of keep seeing it go back and forth in solo situations. And both Peterbot, Poyo, they're doing what they need, right? It's like, hey, we're doing just kind of enough to make sure we're well up in that bubble. But let's come back to this bubble right now. Remember, top 25, that is currently the cutoff. Look at 26, friends, Pixie and Swizzy. Wow. We finally saw them here later on in the end game, and that's what we need to see. Now, of course, we are still outside that bubble, but this is global champion Swizzy. He cannot drop to the lower bracket, Mini Miner. I refuse.
Remember, this is global champion Swizzy and second place at Global's Pixie. So it's like, you know, when we come into this, it's like these guys, they have a spot on that stage reserved for them. They deserve to be on this very large stage. And yeah, again, it hasn't been the greatest day for them. I think, you know, circumstances, Swizzy only arriving today, I think it was. It's just difficult for them to get that going. But I think what we can expect from these guys is to turn it on when it matters most. And for this weekend as a whole, if they make it to the grand finals, that's when they're going to turn it on. And if we're looking at today, only
people that dominated
this is when they need to turn it on. And this is one of the best things to do.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm just thinking about it. I mean, Swizzy's the only one left of his global championship trio. You mentioned yourself, his duo second place. Now, you know, it's upper bracket. We're not playing for the prize money yet, but seeing them in 26, I don't know, maybe it's the jet lag. I don't even know what it is, but I want to see a bit of a spark from this duo here in these last 2 matches.
Yeah, of course, it's no secret, right? Swizzy having some delays before arriving here. Don't want to get too crazy up into it, but he's here now.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that matters, right? Now we are in a situation where we have to try and make these last 2 games count. And you know, friends, it's not even just them, right? Think about all these other duos that are currently outside of that top 25. I talked about it a little bit right before last game, but you got to think those 25 duos in the lower bracket, they're waiting, they are hungry. They say, yes, drop back down into the lower bracket with us. I've been watching your strategy. Oh, you think you're safe? I have nothing to lose. You sure do, though.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because you're going to have teams that are looking at teams maybe that aren't performing well on spawn. Maybe a drop spot that teams are actually thinking, oh, actually, there's a bit of an area that I can exploit right there. And I'm thinking about Peterbot and Poyo. They need to make it through. And even if they don't have a great day today, even if they do make it through, they haven't had the greatest performance. Teams like Mr. Savage looking at that and thinking, maybe it's time.
Man, I'm getting nervous. I'm sorry it always happens. I stress for all of you so that you don't have to stress. But I'm getting word. Game number 5 is ready. So casters, take it away.
You know, I thought it would be unfair just to have Vivid on the broadcast. I had to bring my best friend Levin up with me as well.
It's good to be on the stage here with my besties. Fun with friends. Look, we have some serious Fortnite games still coming your way. And yeah, I did get a bit jealous of Vivid, so I thought I'd jump on the mic as well.
I mean, it's only fair that they put you with 2 of the tallest people in the building after all, Levin. So I'm excited to get into the action with you because today has not disappointed in the slightest. But games 5 and 6 right on the horizon. Let's hop in 5 already.
We have seen 4 games before this one where the players have made their mark. But with 2 more remaining, it's time to solidify your spot in the top 25.
This is where it really gets interesting because with only 2 games left, you start to see people take more and more chances, no pun intended. He went and contested on over. Down goes one. Jargu follows. Tyler and Chance believe in themselves, switch up that drop spot, and it already works out here early in game 5.
That's exactly what they needed too, because 68 points, they are right there towards the cutoff range of the top 25. They cannot afford to take another stumble, because with only one more lobby remaining, Jacob, every single point of placement matters, including elimination points, especially for a duo like Clix and Higgs.
These guys have not had quite the day they thought they would. But it was always going to be a tough one when you were fighting a team like Shark and Teeny, who, to be frank, they've been fighting off Spawn all season long in EU. And so whatever that bait and switch idea was, regardless, it was always going to be a tough idea.
Yeah, and for Clix and Higgs, it was looking so good.
I didn't need to somehow looting it out.
Had them questioning themselves if Shark and Teeny was even going to land here. And I think that was a wake-up call for Shark and Teeny, because ever since then, they've looked completely different.
I don't know how.
One of the only reasons, though, why it looked so good in game 1, though, is because Shark Teeny, they forfeited the immediate pressure initially, but now Latte landing, different narrative entirely. Just two NAC teams clashing head on here. And for Agers and Ritual, it has been a rough day. You know that AJ not necessarily in his best health, but still needs to try and fight back free. Gonna come out, the last man standing here, get the revive off onto Cooper, and that's exactly what they needed. That spot on the battle bus looking very confirmed.
And Rhea and Cooper came into today with all the confidence. And regardless of what now happens for Ages and Ritual, whether they drop back into the lower bracket, then come back up, Rhea and Cooper will be more than confident fighting against these guys again. The pressure, relentless. Richie couldn't withstand, and Ages, like you said, Taco, not feeling his best, and that won't make him feel any better.
Yeah, even when Cooper went down, he still landed a massive shot. But as we tune it, Clix and Higgs have just been run out of Wonky Land by Shark and Teeny.
And quite frankly, this might really be their best option as far as not even trying to engage with Shark and Teeny. You said it, Taco. They definitely did not want to take a fight that allowed Teeny and Shark to control the pace. Whenever
I like that
them
move.
to, they have been rolled. And so for Clix and Higgs now,
the other move not working.
I mean, even from the beginning, Clix Higgs, they immediately forfeited Wonky Land rights. They went straight for the castle. They were not looking to try and actually get caught out against Shark and Teeny, but that might not even matter because they're still at the contend with Acorn and Bolts, who have just cut off
I say people should do me to start. Acorn and Bolts are now find a way to win.
Because this far north, there's only so many places left to run.
Yeah, and right now you're seeing Bolts just kind of really get active. People forget, you know, FNCS, West Champion, depending on the community, you might say, oh, maybe it's not that hard, but he's also a solo LAN champion. I think that's why Acorn wants the best of the best.
Whether you want to count his win or not, we know for a fact Bolts has the talent to match up with any champion in any region, and that is what he is showing here today.
A well-established bragger, that is a certainty when it comes to that duo. But for Spinx and Muzz, Humble Hills, a couple of slip-ups, a little bit shaky, but 70 points still leaves them in that fighting range for top 25 in the leaderboard. Still far too close for comfort, especially for a duo like Muzz and Spinx's caliber.
Acorn ready. Acorn win ready. Yeah.
They're ready for the lurk play. And this is something that they know Acorn and Bolts do time and time again. I talked about Latte landing had one of those special launch pads. Well, this launch pad here is a special launch pad as well. It boosts you up farther and further. You mix it with the Flowberry. That's been their primary rotation for Acorn and Bolts all season long. And I think Clix and Higgs know that to be a possibility, but the zone after the first two is showing that it's pulling towards the north. And this is one of the few times when their game plan, they don't go off of that back launch pad. So
I wonder if it could do any damage.
And right now, I don't think the game's going to let them.
I'm not going to lie. I was licking my lips there a bit. I'm an EU fan. I wanted to see the two NA teams, you know, take each other out. Either way, over at Sandy Strip, we know the mess that has been this POI all day long. And right now, Frucon and Mini, PO, they are doing their utmost best to try and withstand the pressure of Rapid and Cold.
And it's never going to be An easy starting point for Minifio and Pukun. They knew exactly what they were getting into. It's part of the reason they tried to leave originally, but they just couldn't find anywhere to establish themselves on the map that forces them right back to Sandy Strip. And even with it being technically a triple contested area, you have to remember, Rapid Cold, Gino Pablo, both of those duos have had so much success, there's nothing preventing them from just keying Pukun and Minifio outright.
Yeah, and obviously you see Cold and Rapid rotate on out, so that's going to give them a breath of fresh air. A lot of time to spend on that side of the map as Peterbot and Pollo continue to try to get aggressive in this early game. It was in that last game, the fourth one of the day, where you saw things slow down for them and it kind of worked out. They got a good portion of their points, but now they're trying to flip that switch, turn it right back on. They're already off the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, I feel like Peterbot not care anymore and want to drop a 40 bomb
nothing to lose as they start to feel
because
like themselves once again. They get both of those eliminations.
no way for 140 not to do enough to make the
These guys
top
always get
10
better
bomb.
as the tournament goes on. Whenever they have a slow start, you can always count on them heating up and having a big game later down the line.
It almost feels like it's luckier for the rest of the lobby that it is only 6 games that they have to deal with Pete and Pollo for, because it's also just not as much information even for the duos that do find the success in the top 25 and they head into finals. Whether or not they're going to get rematches depends entirely on the lower bracket, but it's still, knowledge is power when it comes to this game.
My Werix just gets caught off guard. Kiduo as well. Curve is beginning to feel himself as well. Him and Veno, honestly, a team that you wouldn't have necessarily expected going into this year, but has worked out perfectly.
Look, they're in 10th place. What happened last time they were in 10th place on a day one?
Ooh.
Keep that in mind.
Clean slate though, when it comes to finals. That could play a little bit of an impact. But for Veno and Curve, one thing has been made clear. Their strategies that they chose to reveal in today's competition have definitely been effective enough. And for Pete, Pollo, they're just trying to do it the old-fashioned way. Sheer power. They are taking as many fights as they can try to find initially. Didn't necessarily work out in their favor, so now a little bit of a pullback. Play with the rest of the lobby, but they do it best when it comes to the end game.
This is going to be interesting here. Almost look like Nathan and Nev are going to try to backtrack. Sky and Scroll going for a third play, but they actually shockwave off that mountain. They know they need to go north. Why make any risk? But Sky taking the whole other approach towards the right side. Eventually, these guys will kind of rotate parallel as they make their way towards the zone and eventually run into the rest of the pack that's already up north.
Sky Scroll though, even if it didn't work out at the beginning points with the way that the lobby has kind of sifted back to some old habits, they've been able to have the same success that we saw in that Major 1 finals over in EU. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They don't have a reason just yet to try and switch things up because it's been working out great.
These boys got something to fix though. Pixie, Swizzy, everybody wanted to see them get a chance to play here on this stage together. It's not been the most impressive of years by their standards, but even in those situations, they've managed to pull through just enough to be able to represent themselves here on this stage. And now it's about delivering in front of their fans after what's been quite a disappointing day, but they are just on the outside, Jacob.
Yeah, they're one of those teams where you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. So you almost want to get them out of the lobby quick. Asayas, Scary, kind of winning that last game and slowing things down just a little bit. They probably already have that early game surge, so they don't need to make any rash decisions, especially with Marius right across as a solo. It's Cold and Rapid. They go from playing towards Sandy, getting aggressive, back on over to Fort Field. Chino and Pablo, I'm not sure they wanted this fight because it looks like both of them are weak, and Cold and Rapid are looking to finish it.
You say they might not have wanted it, but it looks like they came looking for it. We're in Fort Fields. That's Cold and Rapid's territory, and Pablo, Chino, they try to snatch their chain and are quickly finding out.
Yeah, and you see exactly in this situation where Pablo's clutching prowess comes into play. We don't call him one of the best clutchers for no reason. He understands in this situation it's about making and creating as much space as possible, and you see exactly what he does with it. Creates these angles for him to isolate shots, fights, to potentially give himself a chance of staying alive. As Chino, I don't even think Chino's coming in to help. I think it's just leaving Pablo to fend for himself right now, but we know he can do it.
Yeah, it's probably one of those situations where they feel like they might need a miracle. So let me get ready to possibly get gold, get the reboot, go further and further. But he's dipping back in. He's probably staying alive much longer than Pablo had hoped. So Chino probably coming to the rescue for Rapid and Cold. This was their window. This was their opportunity to take a 2v1 situation. And that opportunity looking like it's flying by.
This is exactly what he aimed to do. Gives himself enough time to get his teammate back into the fight. And now they're on even footing. It's not even no more. Chino into the box. Chino low HP. He needs to take a second to chill. Wrap it down. Pablo will keep fighting. And now it's just about taking Cold out.
But Cold's not going to be able to make it for much longer. He doesn't have a whole lot of HP to work with, but still, the siphon might just go through. Chino forced to actually play out his med kit.
Wait,
and now
Coastal,
Cold
what?
has completely switched things around because Rapid is still
How
left on
okay.
ready for the revive. I just cannot believe that Chino and Pablo, they nearly got the better end of this, but
I
now
don't know
Chino
how
forced to try and close the deal.
Cold
But
go
Cold,
win.
you have to remember, this is
Oh
where he does
my
it best.
God, go
He's
win.
still waiting to prove that he
Wow.
is number one in these situations for a reason.
And that
Cold though,
really
dude, today.
puts the pressure
Cold and
now
Robin though,
on
dude.
Pablo and Chino, who sat in 20 seconds. They will have to make game 6 count. Came up against one of the best duos in this lobby, the worst duo they possibly could have been fighting. And that just complicates things all the more.
Yeah, this is one for Chino and Pablo. There's a lot of time here left on the table for them to kind of look back and see what went wrong and try to fix it. Giannis cheating over here. They're just trying to heal up. They took a little bit of a fight. You see they have that one elimination, but they're just not trying to get too greedy. Let's just take it one at a time, but we had to cut this one back. Cold, 9 HP, and it's counting down even further. That was the play right there. Pablo, what are you doing?
This guy is just disgusting, man. He does it over and over again. And at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, that is what it looks like when you're looking for the best players in the game.
Uh-oh.
It looked like it was going to be NA on top, but instead the script has been flipped for Sky, Scroll, and Pete Poyo's conversation. Sky and Scroll, one elimination apiece, but it still looks as if some of these other duos are recognizing the fact that these teams that are leading, they're not in the same sort of pressure. They've already got their spots secured on the finals battle bus.
Well, as I'm watching Sky and Scroll, I see the top left, the feed, Cold and Rapid go down to the zone. Too many fights too early. And we see how Peterbot actually fell. Fresh off of the reboot, he gets beamed out of the sky, basically leaving Poyo by himself. And a huge homing beacon when you go for those reboots. They know exactly where you're at.
This is a tough spot right now, though. I'm surprised that we're actually witnessing clicks and hits
Kid need
above
to
on the surge
freaking
damage threshold.
shade
Just barely
bucket
sitting at
and went to
115, but
them.
more importantly, you just
No
have to
doubt.
think back to when they initially tried to ambush Acorn and Bolts. It was unsuccessful, at least from where we last saw them. And so all of that time that they had invested, it's incredible that they were still able to salvage something from it.
Yeah, this looks like the makings of a successful games for Clicks and Higgs. And actually it's a bad thing for them now. Because going into next game, Shark and Tini will do everything in their power to make sure they can't just run away and get away with it. So they're going to have to make this game count and get as many points out of it as they possibly can.
Unless they have some sort of plan B up their sleeve. As Sky and Scroll realizing, hey, there might be somebody down in that box. You see it goes from a 2-tick zone to a 5-tick. He immediately looks on over, gets the siphon, and look, he's gonna replenish all those materials, get some extra HP to make this journey outside of the zone that much easier.
They're just clearly so relaxed now. They know that they don't have the same sort of struggles that so many of the other duos are still trying to take over with. So Sky, Scroll, they'll look to continue strolling on by. Some flash shots towards Cringe and Twy aren't going to net just yet.
I mean, if I took down Peterbot and Poyo, I'd be feeling pretty confident too. That is exactly what these guys do, and it's what they'll continue to do for the rest of this game. We've seen games like this from them in EU as well, where they're sitting in a comfortable position, they know they're qualified, they know they've had success on the day overall, and so they just let loose, kick back a bit, and have fun.
We've seen this zone before over towards the north side of the map. And the last time we seen it was Acorn and Bolts able to utilize their drop spot and turn it into a victory royale. As you can kind of hear the crowd going wild. Noah Riley, Rizon, 233 above the damage threshold, and they're relatively positioned well when it comes to the actual zone.
Big game for them. A lot of the players beneath them in that leaderboard dud in, which sets them up now with a good game here to secure themselves a spot in the final.
Anything to get some sort of a buffer zone, and Clicks Higgs, though, they have to really turn on the Jets here. They need eliminations, and they need a strong placement in Game 5. Because just like you already highlighted, like, they are going to be absolutely keyed by Shark and Team. I refuse to imagine that there is a world that exists where that wouldn't take place.
Yeah, I'm expecting a high take from them, an aggressive one at some point. They're going to do everything in their power to just win this game out, whatever that means. They're staying up on that hill, and especially with this type of a zone, they will want to keep themselves as elevated as possible to give themselves that option.
Yeah, at least be one of the last teams to rotate off the mountain into that low ground where they can just kind of build on top, keep themselves elevated. You want to stay away from the mess that is down below. Hari's feeling that as well. He just got taken out, separated too far from Cammy, and that's exactly when they're going to strike as Muzz and Speaks lurking around. You see they're very, very low on materials. They know Ahmed and his duo are on the other side. This is their only opportunity to strike, but Higgs has just been separated from Clicks. This is a big moment for the duo, but unfortunately, it's an even bigger moment now for Higgs.
Wrap it up. See you in load the fucking tomato. I don't know
the
what.
north side of the map is just so unforgiving. The constant shifts in elevation. The moment that you think that you've escaped the majority of the congestion, then you find yourself just caught in the middle of it. That was what just took place, but for Sky and Scroll, completely different scenes
no
here.
hate,
they are
but
just letting shots fly alongside Malabuka and Vico. Two teams positioned so well underneath all of this pressure.
Muzz bouncing around below the damage threshold. He lost Sphinx, and even with that elimination there, he's still 200 below the damage threshold. Essentially a full elimination worth of damage, possibly more the way this thing is shaken out. But only 4 players need to go down. 4 individuals need to fall, and that's when Storm Surge will turn off and ease off the lobby.
Reason, right hand peaks. That's where all that practice goes. And we've seen him in that situation many a time, and he doesn't miss often, and he won't miss now. This is really setting up now to be the tournament-defining game for this duo.
One of the only issues they had entering that last zone was just the threat of having not enough surge, but that's going to alleviate all of it. But Muzz, on the other hand, still sitting just at 86 points, but this is his best shot currently to overcome other duos in front of him with so much of the middle ground having been eliminated super early on. Muzz trying to do everything he can, just getting these last 6 of HP, but Maddie is going to shut him down immediately.
Yeah, he knew he was coming from the backside of the zone,
but
he popped out through the bush. Marius really makes that moment count there. Higgs trying to do the same. 64 builds, splash. It's not necessarily the best loadout, but for someone like Higgs who's been in these clutch situations before, it'll do.
A tough task, but one that he definitely can overcome. He
so
has
to
the
cut
resources
so much
to do it, but it's about the
and next
execution
team
now.
up.
Minish and Harvey, they're
No
trying to
doubt.
find their way back into this tournament and make something of it. Pressure will be applied, but pressure will be returned. They will lose their height if they are not careful. And so now it's about scrapping to keep themselves in the game.
It's really easy to just look down, but sometimes you have to remember to look behind you. You never know who might just be creeping up. And for Sky, Marius, solos in this lobby, just looking to try and strike wherever they feel they're going to find their first elimination. But Javi and Minish, somehow, some way, even with material counts running out, have managed to hold on. Look at Higgs, though, setting himself all the way. Ultimate front side low, but can he actually lock down his position?
Sacrificing the HP, even though he only had one splash, it was a necessary evil towards his game plan to give him better positioning right in front. Let the team and the rest of the lobby take each other down. You see Rizon and Noah
still
Riley
needed, but
active here in this game, looking towards the backside of the zone, trying to find elimination. One that they need. It's the loot that they're after. They're almost flesh out.
I got Reason. What are you gonna do next? But he can't hold strong. Noah Riley, though, still managing to steal, but no, it gets cut out. Still, 124 points. Is it enough of a jump to stay ahead of the pack? It might just be the case. All depends on what Damage and Darm decide to do next. Just how quickly are they going to take care of this lobby?
And in a lobby of chaos right now, they look cool, calm, and collected. Acorn and Bolts are trying to find their own lane, and they'll drop all the way onto Elo.
This is
Oh
Big still trying to
my
have a clutch
God.
up. He found a chug jug in the middle of all this chaos, and that's really keeping him alive. Top 10 grants you have for the
It
placements
may be
on
the
the board.
butt, so
Once
to
you
cut
get in,
double.
that's the meat that you're after, and you need to get as much as possible. But Venno, Kurt, they battle for the high ground. Big shots onto their opposition, and it does look like it's going to be theirs, but for how long? Because the aggression will not stop.
Venno's always one for that drive-by damage. Relatively successful too, because Curve and Venno have
Hit it.
managed to stay based on top
Okay,
of height.
that
Team is
thing
Storm, on the other hand, trying
hit
to make their
deep
way forward.
kick
They
and
know
hit
that there's a
in
couple
it,
teams right above them. It's
but
Bolts, but the moment he peeks out, it's Venno and Curve. It's Bolts and Acorn
Kid
now.
need-
Darn,
Kid
left
didn't
to
hit
fend for
me and
himself,
not do.
trying to see if he could take out either Bolts
need to
or
make it to
Acorn, but
in-game,
there
I
are just
think.
not many opportunities. The right side peek finally gonna get it, and Darn has managed to find his refresh.
The plow will continue. He doesn't mind that Demon's just gone down. He knows he has everything in his arsenal to keep on hitting shots. Curve below him, Acorn above as well. He has to try find a layer to stay alive.
Cringe, that's why they're the only duo left in this game, but they are not healthy, especially compared to some of the solo players that we're seeing. Acorn goes up, tries to chop out high, but that is his demise. But it costs Twy
One on
everything.
one.
He goes down to Curve. It's all solos left alive here, and this is Curve.
Nice.
Big
Nice
moment.
set.
9 eliminations, victory royale, making mom and dad proud.
The NA Central champions are here, and they remind all of us that we cannot forget about them. A big win for Venno and Curve. That solidifies a spot in the Sunday
Yes,
final.
yes, okay, I not know.
All right then, guys. Kev, how does it feel to get your first victory royale on LAN?
Feels great. I mean, I just eliminated everyone. I just popped off.
What was that like for you, Venno, having to watch Curve clutch it on his own?
I'm not gonna lie, we were just running around. I'm having fun. He's crazy.
We're seeing you having so much fun. What's interesting to me, though, is it's a little bit like Major 1, where day one, you guys were kind of subtly working your way up the leaderboard. Obviously, there's just one more game before the leaderboard resets. But has your plan been to take it easy and just guarantee Championship Sunday?
The plan was to qual by whatever means possible, try not to show any plans, and just have some fun. I was laughing during that game. I don't know if he likes that.
And what's it like hearing Venno call on LAN? Is it different to when you're online?
Yeah. He's so locked in. Like we're the best.
You do seem like you're feeling yourselves. How is Curve doing in your thoughts? What's your rating?
I think he's taken to it pretty well. Obviously, we've not played much finals recently, so it's good to get some practice in.
It's great to see you guys thriving here on LAN. Congratulations. Everyone, please, Curve and Venno! We're going to head to a break. After this game, we'll know who's qualified for Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know, but kidney a big game.